Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are, aren't they? My delicious little babies, okay? Because we've got to keep shining that light, shining that light, shining that light, okay? So the time is, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it's nearly 1 p.m. In our old afternoon, my delicious little babies, in our old England, my delicious little babies in Brummyland, and we are seeing a bit of sunshine today, although it's now gone a bit dull. A little bit of blue skies and not so nice white and grey fluffy clouds, my delicious little babies. So that's the weather forecast. It has gone a little bit chillier, like I said in my past few videos, because well, I mean, it's coming to autumn, isn't it, my delicious little babies? You know what I mean? Because you have winter, spring, summer and autumn. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, so that comes to 4, doesn't it, my delicious little babies? So, of course, you know, it's not going to be red hot, is it, my delicious little babies? Anyway, so I have one video, then I'm just going to have a quick little natter, because I was out and about today, my delicious little babies, and then I'm going to be over and out, okay? So, there I was, looking for videos, my delicious little babies, you know, when I came back from going out. And anyway, so I was looking, and this was quite hidden, you know, which of course, as we very well know, is all wrong. But anyway, and this upload happens to have 17.7 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, on YouTube. The video's just over 40 minutes long, my delicious little babies. And this is all in capitals now, my delicious babies. And I'm so super duper pleased. It's just unreal, because the reason why, and with anybody not in that way, all capitals in the older space bar, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, I have subscribed straight away. Ike, Ark, space, reacts, all in capitals, my delicious little babies. And it's our lovely David Ark, okay? Because I do go on to davidark.com regularly, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Well, actually every day, to see, you know, what's going on, my delicious little babies. I just happen to love them all, you know, not in that way. I just happen to love them all. They're just absolutely banging, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? That's just me personally, you know. Mind you, there are millions of others who equally love our lovely David Ark and his lovely dear little sons, Gareth and Jamie, and their lovely dear friend Richard. Do you know what I mean? And their team. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? So I always like to advertise. Okay, my delicious little babies. So it should read David Ark on Robert Munro, Unseen Forces and Gods. Yes, my delicious little babies. It's really important, okay, to, you know, I feel, to listen to this, okay, because it explains, there we are, an awful lot. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Wonderful video to listen to. I'm actually about, I think, nearly halfway through now, so I'm going to be listening to the rest of it. Of course I will, okay, my delicious little babies. So, yeah, really well worth a watch. Now then, my delicious little babies, because I'm going to close my book. We need to go back to where we need to go back to. So, okay, so I was out and about today, my delicious little babies, okay? And so I stood in a shop because I needed to go and get some chicky, you know, for my beautiful little babies, little Rubes, little mares, and me, you know, beautiful little mares, beautiful little foxes, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies. Anyway, so I just needed to, you know, pick up a few bits, there we are, bits and bobs, you know. Not a lot of my delicious little babies, because I'm fully stocked out, you know, and I feel truly blessed for that, okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, fast forward, so there I am walking around, I tend to just be more in my own world, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? Because I have so much on my noddle as well, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I have to remember what I've gone into the shop for. There's absolutely nothing wrong with my noddle, not at all, my delicious little babies. It's just that I have so very much up here that's all stored. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? It's sometimes I just forget things sometimes, my delicious little babies. Anyway, not to worry, not to worry. It's one of those. Anyway, I should really write a shopping list out, really. But anyway, today I managed to remember everything. My delicious, there we are, little babies. Okay. So there was this older man. He's retired. He explained that he'd retired, and we happened to be having a little natter, and I said to him, I just happened to say, I said, you must say no to digital ID. Okay, my delicious little babies, I mean, he towered above me, blessed, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies. And he said, well, I feel that this is a good idea. So I said, well, why do you feel that it's a good idea? I said, please and thank you. He said, well, he couldn't really give me, let's just say, a straightforward answer, my delicious little babies. He just felt that it was a good idea. I said, okay. I said, let's just take a look at your basket, what you've got there. So what did he have? He had some, because it's a shop in our old England, my delicious little babies, and the shop is called Arsland. Okay, my delicious little babies. So it means that you can get, these packs of 4, I don't know, well, it's, all of the Cadbury stuff in the world, my delicious little babies, choc asses and, magnums and, lots of different things, you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, twisters, you can get packs of 4 and, things like this now, sometimes 6. So anyway, and so he had, a crunchy, and he had, feast. Okay, my delicious little babies, and it's looked like he was truly piling up, my delicious little babies. So I said, everything what you got in your basket there. So he said yes. And bless his dear soul, he did listen to everything I had to say, my delicious little babies, which, to be honest, not a lot do. So that's not being disrespectful. It's just they cannot be bothered to listen, or they're just too busy to listen. Okay, my delicious little babies. And that's not being disrespectful, like I said. So I said, well, if this went into a social credit system, I said, because it wouldn't just be a digital ID. I said, say if you like buying, 2 boxes of theirs twice a week. I was using it as an example, my delicious little babies. I says, well, you get to the till, and it would decline it. And he went, really? I said, yes. You see what I mean? I said, are you going to be eating all of those for yourself? So I said, Martin, I was having a good old little convo, actually. And he said, he said that somebody comes over, it's another a little family, bless, come to visit. They've known each other for years, okay? And he was actually teaching one of the little lads, because I said, is it for your grandbaby, for these? Because, a lot do, you know what I mean? A lot of families, they go and buy a lot of ice cream, it's cheaper than the ice cream man. Because as we very well know, my delicious little babies, I've never met a poor ice cream man, put it that way, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? It's flipping disgusting, the prices that they charge. Okay, my delicious little babies, anyway. And he said, no, he said, what it was, he said, I was teaching, because he got to know the family and everything, And he says, and then, was it the grandmother or something, she came over from China when China took over Hong Kong. He said something along those lines, my delicious little babies. So I said to him, I said, so I'm pretty sure that she wouldn't want to go back to China. And he said, no. Okay, my delicious little babies. And I says, well, and just to tell you this bit, yeah. So what it was, she wanted your man here now to teach, their little baby now English. Okay, my delicious little babies, see how it works. Yeah. Okay, my delicious little babies anyway. So, and like I said, it's, this is not against the Chinese themselves. Okay, my delicious little babies anyway. So, anyways, it was just like a little conversation, and I was explaining. Yeah, stumbled there, not changing my video. And then I was explaining about the, this social credit system. Like in China, that if he was to be in agreement with a digital ID, that down the line, there we are. This is what would to happen. You see what I mean? The same as China. You see what I mean? Okay. Anyway, he says, you know what? He said, I'm going to look into this. I said, well, the thing is, I said, what one should do really is try to not look at the box in the corner of the room. And he said, when you're retired, you said to me. So it's interesting to talk to others, is what I'm saying, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But he said that his laptop had broken, so, and I said, well, if you go on places like YouTube or davidark.com, and things like this, I said, you'll be able to follow what's going on. I said, please and thank you. I said, anyway, wishing you a beautiful day. Have a lovely day. Okay, that was that. Then I thought, right, I'll start walking to the bus stop. I could have called a taxi, my delicious little babies, but I thought, no, it's a pleasant day. I thought it's nice to get the exercise, you know what I mean? So there I was, and luckily enough, the bus was coming round the roundabout, you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, because that's what we seem to be on, isn't it? It's like a roundabout that what they're trying to do is make it very difficult for us to get off. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies anyway. You remember in parks when you were little, well, I do. You do not, you do not really see them much anymore, my delicious little babies anyway. And of course, I'm 52 now, and a lot changed, didn't it? We're looking at 52, 53 and everything. There we are, my delicious little babies. So then fast forward, so I got onto the bus, as you do. And then there's this dear older woman, bless her, a lovely dear, only smaller than myself, you know what I mean? And that's saying something. Okay, I had delicious little babies anyway, bless her. And I said, would you like to come and sit down next to me? And she said, oh, yes, please. Yes, please, darling. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so I sat down. And we were having a conversation, and I was talking about this digital ID and everything. And she said, do you know what? She said, it's so nice and lovely. This was her words, my delicious little babies. It's so nice and lovely, she said, to be able to talk to somebody who thinks along the lines that I do. Look at that, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? She said, so that's why I do not have anybody to talk to about this, sort of conversation. She said, so that's why I just do not say anything. Look at that, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But look how it's like, we were sat alongside each other. I clearly younger than this dear woman, bless, okay? And great man's, there we are, noddles, think alike, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? I talked about the, I said they put colour against each other. I said they put religion. She said yes. We were having a really good conversation, my delicious babies, until I had to get off the bus. But she said they do not care about the elderly. I said, no, they do not, my little sweet. I said, and the reason why they do not seem to spare a thought for the elderly, I said, and bless you all, I said, is because, I said, you remember, isn't it? And she said, yes. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So what is the point, before I end my video, to what I'm saying? It's amazing when you talk to others, okay, my delicious little babies, and they give their opinions, their views on how they see the world, my delicious little babies. It would have been lovely to stay on the bus. I mean, because I had an all-day ticket, so it would have been lovely to stay on the bus, £5.20 now, my delicious little babies, and flipping going up. to continue the conversation, but I needed to get, there we are, I needed to get home. Do you see what I mean? Okay. And when I got off the bus, I shouted over to a young man, not in that way, not in that way. And I shouted, would you like a bus ticket? And he said, I said, it's free. As soon as I said it's free, it was funny, man, Lichtenstein babies, bless him. I said, would you like a bus ticket? And he was, as soon as I said it's free, I said, it's all day. And he went, yes, please. Okay, Lichtenstein babies. Because that's the way it is, Lichtenstein babies, you know what I mean? It's like, but if you can help somebody else, okay? But it's even for the sake of a bus ticket, it's like they're putting everything up. Petrol, diesel, food, bus travel, train travel. Do you know what I mean? What are they spending it all on? Okay, fair enough. We're seeing a lot more newer buses, okay? But what is our putrid government really spending it all on, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? How can they justify, there we are, what they're charging us all? Do you understand what I mean? But anyway, I waved to that dear elderly woman. What a lovely, dear woman she was. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious babies? And she could see, and her words was, she said, in the 50s, and that's how I'm going to end my video, she said, in the 50s, 60s, and part of the early 70s, she said, early 70s, I have to remember what that dear woman said to me. She said, it was all right. She said, after that time, she said, especially now in these past years, I'm trying to remember. Basically, what she's saying is it wasn't as good as those years. Okay, my delicious little babies, and she's talking about it now, and she said, you see what I mean? Okay, so what she was saying is the 50s, 60s, and the early 70s. Okay, my delicious little baby, she said it was all right then, you see? And then she said after that, okay? But of course, she's, bless her beautiful, dear little soul, she's old enough, bless her, to be able to say that. And that is why I said, long time for years, I said, that's why they don't, our putrid government say, that's why they don't have a lot of respect. Well, they do not have a lot of respect for any of us. Well, to be honest, none. But the fact is, it's the elderly, because they can remember. And I also mentioned to you, dear lady there, dear woman, I said, the thing is now, I said, if you look at the little babies that have been born, I said, any baby's a blessing. She said, oh, yes, it is, okay? I said, but they're only knowing like a tech world, like computers. And she went, yes. You see what I mean? We had such a wonderful conversation, my delicious babies, proper on the same song sheet, ding, ding, dong, dong. Do you know what I mean? Okay? So the way that I said it was, that was wonderful conversations. Do you see what I mean? And I'll never forget that dear little lady woman there now then. And she will never forget myself, do you say? So that's what I feel it is. It's more about having conversations, my delicious little babies, to end my video. And just, for ones who are not so aware of things, just to leave that seed. It's like planting a seed, isn't it? It's like in a garden or something, my delicious little babies, and you could have a plant pot and you plant a few seeds, and then, it takes some months, and then voila, you got flowers or herbs or something, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. So, and that's the way that I want to leave my video. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. But yes, bless that beautiful dear woman, bless her. And bless the man, bless him. Do you understand what I mean? I'm hoping that he will now start to, as he said he was going to do, there we are, to look into things. Okay, so even if I've only spoken to two, okay, and out the two, one you could give more information so that they understand. Then there we are. Then that is my job done for today. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay. So, and just to let you know as well, ones always feel that it's men who run the world. Yes, okay, you have men, but there we are, it's a woman who's running the world. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, I just thought I'd leave you with that. So wherever you are, please have a super duper beautiful time. Look after yourselves and please try to look after others. Yes, okay? And anybody who's lonely, if you do stop and talk to them, you could just absolutely make their day. Okay, my delicious little babies, so very much love. Thank you for listening once again. Take care. Blessings. Goodbye.